Alright, in this video I'm going to talk about setting up problem 6. This is one that we talked about earlier in the semester. We talked about graph theory. And so we have link 1 that's pinned to link 2. It's got a sliding joint to link 4. And it's got a pin to link 3. It's got a higher pair between 2 and 3, and a pin and slot between 2 and 3, a pin and slot between 3 and 4. So this is RO2, this is RO3, this is slider, and need to give this point a name, so let's call that A. We've got, for this pin and slot, on 2 we've got B, and we need to add a point. So we've got some choices about what we do for our point, but our point on link 4 should be that point A, and that'll also be the point for our pin and slot for A. And I will probably also, so this pin and slot right here is this. I'll pick a point C right there, and so my pin and slot will use points A and C. The slider, I'll have A, and since I'm going to be using it in this loop right here, my other point will inconveniently be in the middle of this graph. That'll be 04, which will be right there. The other point I need is pin and slot for this one, and so it is in reference to this slot, so I need a point on link 3 that's associated with that slot, so I'm going to pick a point D right there. Alright, so I've got two loops. I've got loop 1, loop 2, and so for loop 1, my points are O2, B, D, O3, and then back to O2. And so I'm going to, and that's point B2. I'm going to pick my endpoint for my loop as B2, so I'll have vectors that go from O2 to O3, O3 to D, and then D to B2. And so this will be my vector R2. That's that. This will be a vector R1. And then I'll have a vector, I can call it R3. And then that one I can call R5. Okay, and so my equation is going to be RT equals R5 plus R3 plus R1. For loop 2, I'm going to have this loop, which has points O3, C, A, O4, and then back to O3. Start with O3, and I think I'm going to stop at A for this one. Once again, that's a choice. And so my vector loop is going to look like this, where I'm going to have a vector that goes from, let's call this one R6, plus R7, and that's going to be equal to this vector right here, which it's a ground vector. I'll call that one R8, and then this one from O4 to A, that one will be my R4 vector. Okay, and so those are going to be my vector loop equations. Now, there's an awful lot of relationships between these because the angle between this vector and between this vector R3 and R5, that angle doesn't change as that link rotates. And also the angle between R6, which is that one, and R7, that angle is fixed, but so is the angle between R3 and R6. Okay, so we've got a bunch of different vectors that are all attached to link 3. They're all going to be related. And so this was my vector R8, and this one was the vector R4.